In the wake of the U.S. attacks on Iran's nuclear sites, the Homeland Security Department is warning of a, quote, heightened threat environment in the U.S. For more, we want to bring in CBS News Homeland Security correspondent Nicole Sganga. Nicole, it's great to see you. Following this weekend's attack and Iran's retaliation this afternoon, what are security officials saying about domestic threats here?
Yeah, good to be with you, Meg. Homeland Security officials have activated what's known as the National Terrorism Advisory System, a public notification and really a signal that our already heightened threat environment has increased. Current and former intelligence officials who I've spoken with today say while it's unlikely that Iran or Hezbollah would direct a targeted attack on the U.S. homeland at this time, there is serious concern about Iranian calls to violence, inspiring a homegrown terrorism plot within the United States, especially amid a rise in anti-Semitic attacks since October 7th. And with high-profile tragedies playing out this year at the Capitol Jewish Museum and on the streets in Boulder, Colorado, keep in mind we are also less than 2 weeks away from the 4th of July and a lot of public gatherings that come at that time. So that concern as well to some of these more high-profile, more well-attended events that are taking place across cities and towns in America. That, of course, is coupled with a concern about cyber vulnerabilities within U.S. critical infrastructure, as well as the targeting of U.S. officials. Of course, those concerns have persisted since 2020 and with the killing of Qasem Soleimani.
And Nicole, so what is being done to increase security at any vulnerable locations, and what are considered vulnerable locations at this point?
Yeah, in short, vulnerable locations considered faith-based organizations, churches, synagogues, mosques, and we've heard from law enforcement agencies across the country, spanning from New York to right here in D.C. to Los Angeles, that they have increased police presence and footprints in those areas. Here in Washington, D.C., we also know that the Secret Service has increased its footprint around the White House and its personnel around the president.
And how prepared is the U.S. for a cyber attack from Iran or its proxies?
Yeah, I mean, look, U.S. officials are monitoring for cyber retaliation on the part of Iranian hacktivists or Iranian-directed cyber operatives. Historically, the Iranian cyber operatives target Israeli companies, and Iranian cyber activity has not been quite as extensive outside of the Middle East. But last year, the U.S. government did notably warn U.S. water utilities relying on Israeli systems to operate that they may be targeted in the future. So watch out. And one of the persistent challenges here, Meg, is not all public utilities like water, like electricity, are publicly owned, and many are under-resourced when it comes to their cyber environments. Now, as for Iranian cyber espionage activity, that already focuses on the U.S. government, military, and political set. And of course, we learned the hard way in 2024 that Iran has the ability to really carry out information operations like hack and leak campaigns that we saw targeted, then candidate, but President Trump and his vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, just last year. But the Iranians also routinely oversell their impact with false and exaggerated claims about the attacks that they carry out in the cyberspace. So we have to be wary of that too, Meg.
All right, Nicole Sganga breaking it all down for us. Thank you.